y'all want to see how I get my eyebrows on fleek all the time, y'all better keep watching. All right, let's get started. So the first thing I like to do is brush all of my brow hairs upwards in the same direction. Make sure they're all nice and brushed out, just like that. All right, next I'm gonna take my tweezers and I'm just gonna pluck all the unwanted little microscopic hairs that I don't want. Make sure you guys be really careful when plucking, because you don't want to get too close to the main brow and you don't want to pluck out any of those hairs, because that will make a difference, and every brow hair is important. So you want to make sure you're as careful as possible. Stay below, you know, that kind of brow shape that you have already. All right, after that, I'm gonna take the spoolie again and just brush through it one more time to make sure I don't have any of those hairs left behind that I plucked. Now, I'm gonna take my Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Pomade in the shade Dark Brown. I live and breathe by this stuff. I've been using this stuff since I started out doing makeup. This is all that I've ever used, and I recommend this so much because it's so good. I'm gonna take this angled brush. I don't remember what number it is, but I do know it's from Zoeva. I will find out what number it is and I will let you guys know. So now I'm gonna dip into the product, dip into the pomade, and I'm gonna wipe off the edges to make sure the brush is really thin. I also go back and pinch it to really make sure it's thin. Okay, so I'm gonna take the brush and I'm gonna kind of start towards the middle, and I'm gonna start underlining the natural shape of my brow. I like to really extend my tail out pretty far because I like a dramatic brow. That's just me. Then you want to take whatever's left on the product and really bring it in the front. Just really bring it towards the front really lightly. So now you have a nice base for the shape of the brow. And this is really going to determine how your brow is going to look in the end. So this is the shape that I typically go for. I kind of like a high arch. So next, I like to pinch my brush again to make sure it's thin. Dip back into that product. Take the base of the brush, put it against that line that you already created, and start flicking it upwards to fill in that base. Now that I did the majority of the brow, I like to kind of go in the front with whatever's left on the brush and really lightly swoop it upwards. Really lightly fade it upwards because the front of the brow has the least amount of hairs and you want that part to look as natural as possible. You don't want it to look boxy. You don't want any of that. And it's okay if you mess up because concealer will fix any mistake, I'm telling you. So I go back with the spoolie and just blend out everything that you laid down. Blend it all out. The shape is starting to come together. Keep going back and forth with that spoolie. Brush it out, brush it out. Pinch that brush one more time. Dip back in that product. Now, I'm gonna start creating the top arch of the brow. So I kind of like to brush those hairs to the side when it comes to the arch, so it can be a lot easier to draw. So now kind of start to follow where that arch would naturally be. You want to just drag that out. Like I told you, I like my tails to be a little bit more dramatic, but it's up to you. Whatever your preference is, you do you. Dip back in there, start drawing that top out some more. And sometimes to make it easier, I brush it down so I can really get in there. You see, so I can really get in there and draw it perfectly. And as neat as possible. And then brush them right back into place. See how the shape is kind of coming together now? Pinch that brush again and kind of fade whatever's left to connect it to the arch that we just created. So just lightly fade it. Okay, now I like to take another angled brush, but it's a thicker one. And this is the e.l.f. small angled brush. Okay, so I take that product, and the reason why I use a thicker brush after is because I can really get an even application when it comes to the tail of the brow, because I kind of want the tail to be all the same color and the front to be a little faded and light. Now you see our brow is really starting to come together, really starting to get there. Now here's the time to kind of assess whether you want to change anything or whether you want to make anything a little bit sharper or whatever the case might be. So I'm going to take my brush again, this one, dip it into the product, take my spoolie, kind of brush these hairs a little bit down so I can really get close. And I'm gonna kind of build this arch up a little bit more because it's not to my liking quite yet. See, now I'm kind of creating some height with my arch, how I like it. Now that I've kind of fixed it up a little bit and got it to the liking that I like it, now that I've kind of fixed it up a little bit and got it to the point where I like it, I'm gonna take my LA Girl Pro Concealer, squeeze some onto the back of my hand, not too much, just enough. And I'm gonna take another angled brush. I really like angled brushes. I feel like they really get the job done, especially when it comes to brows. I'm gonna take this, pinch that, dip it into that concealer, make sure you coat both sides, make sure you keep it really thin. I'm gonna take that and I'm gonna start carving out my brow. I'm gonna start sort of in the middle. This is the point where you get to fix all of your mistakes that you made to make this brow as sharp as possible. Okay, so now that we kind of carved out the tail of it, we're gonna start fading that concealer towards the front. Okay, next you want to blend downwards. You want to kind of pull that concealer down to really blend it out. Okay, Next, you want to take that original angled brush that we had, pinch it again, and really start going in, creating more hair-like strokes with whatever's left on the brush. Take that spoolie, brush all the eyebrow hairs in place. Brush them all in place. I like to really brush the front hairs up. I don't carve out the top of my brow because I feel like that looks a little bit unnatural. I used to do it, but I just don't do it anymore. And blend it out. Blend it out. Blend it out. Blend it out. Brush through. Take a little bit more of the pomade. Darken up whatever you want to darken up. I'm going to darken up the tail of it. Okay, so the last step. No. Can't believe I just did that. So the last step I like to do is take some clear brow gel. I love this stuff so much. And I like to really set these brows in place. This stuff is like super glue for the brows. Your eyebrow hairs will not move at all throughout the day. I love this stuff so much. Just like to comb my eyebrows up. This last step is kind of optional, but to me it makes such a difference. I like to take a shimmery champagne shade and just place that underneath the brow to really lift it and highlight. So there you have it, guys. That is my brow routine. This is how I've done my brows for a while now. Before, after. I'm gonna go ahead and do the rest of my makeup off camera, and I'll see you guys in a bit. Woo! Okay guys, that was it for this brow routine. I hope you guys really enjoyed it. Subscribe to my channel, comment down below anything else you guys want to see, and I'll do that for you guys. Bye.